Welcome to Organizing Content Overview, Chunking Content. This video is part of a three-part series looking at organizing the content overview. It's broken into three pieces: the course design plan, and then sequencing and chunking. If you haven't looked at the course design plan portion of this series yet, you might want to click on the link within this video on the course design plan there and have a look at that piece first. Otherwise, you can continue on. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about chunking. So chunking is an instructional strategy meant to ease the cognitive load of learners. Basically, it's taking the content that you have and the topics that you have, and it's making sure that we keep those chunked into relevant sizes. We're trying not to feed them too much at once, trying to keep the cognitive load down to a minimum so that they're able to digest what it is that we're having them sift through, all this type of material. An example of cognitive load, the one that's most commonly referred to as an example is Miller. He's come up with the magic number theory, the magic number 7, that in our short-term memory we're able to remember 7 things, 7 digits, 7 whatever, plus or minus 2. But that's sort of the magic number that our cognitive load allows us to remember in our short-term memory. That's why we have 7-digit phone numbers, for example. But it's often not so much the digits that are important or the amount of digits, but it's the chunks and or the patterns that are created and that allow us to change whether or not the cognitive load is too much or too little. So what we're trying to avoid, of course, is the shoebox course, where you just have this box full of content and you ask students to just sift through it at their will. Sometimes there's overlapping concepts. There's certainly an overwhelming amount of content. Confusion can get caused by the content being spread all over the place. So our cognitive load is being spent just trying to organize this in our own minds, and not being spent on actually learning it or actually taking it to memory. So chunking content is really just organizing relevant information together, and we often do that by topic or by module or by week or by unit. We find some sort of chunk, some way of saying, okay, this is my measure now. What fits into this? I have a little bit of lecture, I have a reading, I have some video, perhaps I have a podcast or some audio that I'd like to include. All this type of content that I'd like to have the students go through, but let's figure out what we need to show them at once, and not too much or too little of it, but to try and create some chunking of that content where they're not going to be overloaded. So each piece of content within a chunk should support as opposed to distract from the understanding of the major concept or theme that we're trying to put forward. So if there's a relevant content within a chunking, it's a distraction and therefore increases the cognitive load. So we really want to think about all the pieces that we've got there. Is this a nice to know or is it a need to know? Is it really helping them to understand the concept better? Is it really going to help them to achieve that objective that we set forward for them? Are they going to be able to answer the questions when it comes time for evaluation and show that they're able to achieve those objectives? If not, then perhaps it's a piece that can be left out and not be part of that chunk. Where to begin? Start with your content topics. That's always a good place to start. What are the topics? Perhaps your chapters in your textbook are a good sort of basis for that. major concepts in the course design plan, discussed in part 1 of this 3-part series. Again, if you haven't done your course design plan, this is sort of part of that course design plan process, is chunking things into modules or into weeks or into units or however you want to do it. But often we base these on major concepts or a weekly class schedule, whatever makes common sense for you for your particular course. But again, the goal of chunking is really to optimize that cognitive load on relevant content and not waste cognitive load on distractors. We want our cognitive overload is not the path to better understanding. Just throwing more content at them is not necessarily going to make them understand it better. It could provide distractions. And you know, despite what a lot of people think, if making it hard to learn does not necessarily lead to a deeper understanding. So just making it difficult is not necessarily the answer. So that's chunking. Go ahead now and click on the sequencing link within the video here and have a look at the final piece, the final process in creating your course design plan.